On the 22nd of March 2014, one of the most gruesome, shocking and horrifying discoveries was made in a small community in Ibadan, Nigeria, called the Soka community. This discovery would go on to be known as the Ibadan Forest of Horror. Some people would call it the Soka Forest of Doom. Over 20 fresh decaying human remains were discovered that day. 50 skulls, multiple clothing items belonging to men, women and children believed to have been captured by suspected ritualists were found. Body parts were scattered around the floors of the forest, almost like it was a kitchen for wild animals. Oh my god, it was an eyesore. A nightmare, one you can only find in a horror movie. Up until this very day, no one knew what really happened behind the bushes of the Soka Forest of Doom. Up until this very day, still no one has been held responsible for the evil that went on behind the walls of this uncompleted building discovered deep in the heart of the Soka Forest. Who was the mastermind? What was done to the body parts of these victims? And why was the government so eager to bury the story? In this video, we are going to learn about what truly happened inside the pits of the Soka hell. We're going to learn about the victims through the voices of the few survivors. Their individual stories should at least give us a clue as to what really went down behind the walls of Soka. Why and who did this? Before we continue, please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and also let me know what country you're watching from. And also click the subscribe button if you haven't subscribed. This will tell the YouTube algorithm to recommend this channel to others, and it will also encourage me to create more content like this. The first story we are going to look at is that of a motorcyclist by the name of Abakuda. He is the reason for this particular discovery. I mean, thanks to Abakuda, the horrific activities that were going on in the Soka forest were exposed. If not for this motorcyclist, I don't think we would have discovered this horror. There is a chance that the evil going on in the Soka forest will still be going on up till this day. On the 21st of March 2014, a motorcyclist by the name of Abakuda was called by an acquaintance to help take him somewhere around Soka vicinity. Now by this time, nothing was known about the Soka forest of horror, like it had not been discovered to the rest of the world. Soka was just a community in Ibadan. Abakuda, who was on his motorcycle taking a friend to Bodija area in Ibadan, when he started receiving a persistent phone call from this acquaintance, and the call was so consistent that Abakuda had to park his motorcycle on the roadside to take the call. And when he took the call, the person on the phone asked Abakuda to please come get him and take him to the Soka area as he was in a hurry to get there. And Abakuda, instead of telling this person to take another bike, considering he claims to be in a hurry, and Abakuda was also on a trip to drop a friend at that time. Rather, Abakuda told his acquaintance that he should be patient as he was currently on his way to drop a friend at the Bodija area, and he will come back to pick him after he had finished with his trip. The acquaintance was like, okay fine, if you're going to drop him first, no problem, I will wait for you to drop him and then you come back and pick me. So Abakuda took the first friend and dropped him off in the Bodija area of Ibadan, and on his way back to go and pick this acquaintance, he sort of felt it was getting late since it was about 4 p.m. already, and if he had to go and drop his acquaintance in Soka, by the time he's coming back it's going to be very dark and he would not want to be driving alone. So he went to pick his cousin to accompany him to go and drop his acquaintance at the Soka area in Ibadan, and that was how it was said that Abakuda, his cousin and that second friend journeyed towards Soka area, and that would be the last time they heard about Abakuda and his cousin on that Friday. The next day on Saturday, everyone started looking for Abakuda. His family and fellow motorcyclist riders were all looking for him because he did not come back home. Now let me tell you people something, because I know this story is already being said a lot. I don't trust that second friend, I mean the acquaintance that called Abakuda, and my reason is very clear, because while he kept calling Abakuda when he was on that motorcycle about to go and drop that first person, it sounded like he was in a hurry. It sounded like he was running late for an appointment or for something, so which meant that this guy most likely wanted to get somewhere as quickly as he could. So if Abakuda wasn't available at that point, why didn't he take another motorcycle? Abakuda was clearly not the only motorcyclist in Ibadan at that time. I mean, there were numerous motorcyclists, so he could have flagged down one by the roadside, or more so, he could have even entered a taxi and journeyed to wherever he was going. He could have done that, but he didn't. which to me is very suspicious. I mean, if you were in a hurry, why did you have to wait for this motorcyclist to go and drop somebody else and then come back to pick you there? So Abakuda, his cousin and his acquaintance all journeyed towards the Soka area, going to drop this acquaintance. Little did they know, that it would be the last anyone would hear from them. The next morning, as panic gripped Abakuda's family, the chilling realization dawned that something sinister had unfolded. It was then that a friend recalled Abakuda's urgent trip to Soka to drop another acquaintance, a detail that would ignite the flames of a desperate search. Around this same period, still that Saturday morning, the family of Abakuda got a call from Abakuda, and on that call, his family was frantic. They were like, "Abakuda, where are you? We've been looking for you. We've been asking everyone for your whereabouts. Where did you go? I hope you are fine." And Abba was like, he doesn't know where he is. It looks like he has been buried alive. He told them that they were on their way to the Soka area when they got attacked and captured, but he did not see who captured them. He also cannot see the place where he was being taken to, but he could tell for sure that he had been buried alive and needed help. It was at this point that everyone became alarmed, and instantly his fellow motorcyclists heard of the story, and they all dropped whatever they were doing and decided to journey to the Soka area to look for Abakuda. That was how Abba's friend, the family and other motorcyclists began looking for him. They all drove to the Soka area of Ibadan, and they started looking for their friend and their colleague. Somewhere along the line, they stumbled up a bridge in the Sonyo area, and there they stumbled upon a chilling clue, a motorcycle, abandoned and alone. It was Abakuda's motorcycle. It was at that point that they knew that, okay, since we found this motorcycle there is a chance that Abakuda is somewhere close. That was when this group, with a sense of fearful apprehension, alerted the police, and they forged ahead, navigating the treacherous landscape with grim determination. The group started splitting around as they followed the path of the river, and they started searching around the area. Some were said to be calling his name, and they were just basically looking for where he could have been. Around the water area of the Soka forest and deep up the hills of the Soka forest were some uncompleted buildings, as well as residential buildings were located there. So some of the group of friends kept searching. Some of the people in the search party decided to journey towards the buildings that they were seeing in the forest, hoping that they could have an answer as to where their friend was. So spotting a particular building, a few group of people approached it. Amidst the wilderness, a discovery sent shivers down their spine. Undeterred, they pressed forward, driven by an unyielding resolve to uncover the truth. It was amidst these abandoned structures that they stumbled upon a haunting chorus of cries, desperate plea for water, a cry for mercy, drowned out by the deafening silence of the forest. These boys searching for Abba could hear these cries, and they were like, yeah, let's go and check this place. Maybe they would know something about Abba. But their quest for answers soon turned deadly. Gunshots rang out, a grim reminder of the dangers that lurked in the shadows. Instantly, the few group of people retreated and went back to the rest of the group and told them, see, some people are shooting at us. We heard cries coming from that compound, but as we got closer, they fired at us. That was when more of the search party decided to go towards that direction. At that time, the police were informed of somebody who went missing and had called to say he had been buried alive. However, this group of search parties decided to journey towards the direction where the gunshot was coming from, and when they got there, the people shooting the gun could not continue shooting because obviously there's a crowd of people now and they've been overpowered. Somewhere around this point, they still got a call from Abakuda, and on that phone, Abakuda said he could hear footsteps above him and he thinks they are very close. He doesn't know where he is exactly, but he knows he is buried under the ground. That was when they figured obviously they were close to finding Abakuda. Also, they thought. Breaking into the building from where these people were shooting at the cyclist, the search party discovered a room full of people in captivity. There were men and women tied up in chains to the wall. It was shocking and disturbing. Instantly, they rescued these men and broke off the chains, and it was said that some of these rescued people began to flee for their lives. This discovery was shocking enough to the point that they could not even keep it to themselves while they were trying to make sense of what they were seen. They decided to check other buildings because they were still looking for Abakuda. In searching the other buildings around the forest areas, they saw a particular building that was filled with human bodies. This was when they knew that they had found something bigger than what they were initially looking for. There was another building that they discovered that had clothed items, bags, school uniforms, women underwears, a pair of security boots, several pairs of shoes, baby clothes, and thousands of clothes littered the place that most likely belonged to these captives. Instantly, this discovery was marked to be a horrific den of torture. This turned out to be the moment the Soka forest of horror was discovered at the same time. Seeing all of this chaos, the friends were putting a call to Abakuda, trying to know where he was. Abba, where are you? We are here. We have seen people. We've even rescued some people. Where are you so that we can help you and find you? And in that call, Abba was like, my battery is running low. I can hear you people's footsteps. I'm hearing voices. I don't know where I am. You just have to dig. Immediately, they began to dig. They were just digging anywhere that they could imagine somebody could be buried. They dug so many holes and yet they couldn't find Abakuda. Trying to call him again, they realized that his phone was switched off, and this was the part they became very frustrated. At the same time, the police had arrived at the scene and these people had expressed themselves and told them that this is the situation and this is how it is right now. And of course, the police saw that this was even bigger than looking for just Abakuda himself, because somebody needs to explain what all of these human bodies are.
For who were all these people captured? Where were they from? And who is in charge of this place? Who brought these people here? The body parts, the skulls, the clothes, the properties. But the search party still wanted to find their friend Abba. And with more time that they wasted, they realized that the more holes they dug, they weren't even close to finding their beloved friend Abba. At this point, his phone battery was empty and his phone switched off, so obviously they could not reach him to know how close they were. The good part of this search party though was the discovery of the Soka forest of evil. But the bad part of it was the fact that Abakuda was never found up till this day. His body is most likely possibly still buried underneath the soil of Soka forest, and the attention focused on what it had come to be, from the search for a motorcyclist to the discovery of the abandoned forest of horror. Who were these people? How did they get here? How long had they been here? And why were they there? The police showed up in their vans and weapons to see for themselves. At this time, many of the captives had been unchanged and set free, and many of them had run away. But when the police came there, they were able to still meet 7 remaining survivors who were still at the scene, although one of the survivors would later pass away right in front of them, leaving just 6 survivors of the Soka forest of horror. The one that dropped to the ground and passed away in front of the police had been seriously malnutritioned. It was just a living skeleton. Just like the other 6 survivors, they were so weak that they could barely even move. That is why I want to assume those captives who were able to still run away was most likely the recent ones who had been brought there, still with enough energy to run, because the rest 6 could barely move. The survivors were taken to a medical center for medical attention, and after they gained their sanity and gained some strength, they were able to recall how they found themselves in the Soka forest of horror.